Good afternoon. Well, let's see. The Thomas Jefferson report goes like this. It's a little chilly, 47, 48 right now. The wind is pretty light, and I'd say 1 or 2 miles an hour. And it's overcast. Moments ago, you could hardly see the hills nearby because the mist, very mysterious, overcame normal views of the hills around here. As I look toward the hills, I'm walking toward them. See, as I walk toward them, it used to be Confederate soldiers would come over those hills, and to a slight distance to my left, I guess you can figure that out, and it doesn't matter that much, there would be the Union troops bivouacked not too far down here. So from time to time, people go around and they find things, buttons and bullets and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And they'd come over and they'd kind of raid, and then they'd go back over the hills. And they were amazing horsemen, and they knew these trails. And the Union, by the end of the war, had also figured it out. Such a loss. And we're dealing with a conflict that's comparable and different right now. So let's talk first about the Middle East. And to follow up on what I said yesterday, it strikes me that, well, we criticize what happened to the World Center Kitchen, WCK, and that 7 people helping others were killed. And they were killed by a drone which has been used precisely enough to kill people in Syria, for example. But they couldn't and they knew exactly who they were going after, but they couldn't tell that these 7 people were there to help. Charity, food and so forth in Gaza. Okay, so that's the table setting, if you will. Now, we, the United States, have criticized what they did, but we stopped there. We stopped there, and we're giving them $18 billion. We're not giving, we're selling to them. They're paying us $18 billion for F-16s. The world is crazy. It may always be true, and it may just be transparent to us now, but it comes at a bad time, because doing things that don't make rational sense encourage us to think in an emotional sense. Now, to some extent, that's going in our favor, I think, because Trump is so desperate and so afraid of the New York trial for certain that he's kind of crazed running around. And I'm sure he's making all sorts of errors, and we'll be reading about it. When I say errors, crimes, and we'll be reading about them and dealing with them pretty soon. So Trump is trying to delay, this is a beauty though, he's trying to delay the trial in New York because of pretrial publicity about the trial. This from the guy who came to trials in New York to basically do what Navarro did unsuccessfully, which is go outside and talk to the media and, run his engine and get everybody all upset. And he has, he's enlarged the gag order now against him, and he's asking the court to delay the case because all the publicity, when he's the source of the publicity. These matters would be covered as a trial, probably, pretty seriously, but because there are no cameras in the courtroom and stuff like that, the people are really hearing him and watching his inconsistent actions and his threats and coercion and so forth. So he may reap the whirlwind in 2 ways. One, the judge is not going to continue the case. It's going to go on April 15th. And whatever prejudice hurts him came out of his own mouth. So congratulations. Once again, you Trump, you're a special kind of genius, all right, that's for sure. Now, We also have a special counsel, and you got to say, the attorneys we have prosecuting these cases are serious people. And so Jack Smith is down in Florida with Judge Luce Cannon. Luce is my attribution to her participation in these cases. And she has the cases involving the classified documents. And the argument that has Jack Smith all legitimately upset is the notion that Trump can, while sitting in the White House looking at classified documents, wave his hand like a baton, and the wand that is his baton changes the character on some basic level. We Roman Catholics who are familiar with some of these notions can understand where maybe it comes from. Transubstantiation, you know, and so this fallen Roman Catholic, and I'm talking about Trump, although I am one too, but for different reasons probably. He waves his baton wand, and the papers immediately become personal. They're not presidential. And so, if that's true, no case, and he's released. Now, something strange has happened here. And it can't be that the judge doesn't know better. Judge Cannon asked the parties to give jury instructions. And one set of jury instructions was to define for the jury how this prestidigitation by Trump, the wand performance in which everything is personal and he can do what he wants with it, which is not the law, has prompted Jack Smith, rightly so, to say, whoa, stop the music, what are you doing here? That's all wrong, that's not the law. And it appears that she's doing something else. He's made a motion, she hasn't acted upon it, and his concern is she has not acted upon it for two reasons. She doesn't want to be reversed on it. Also, she wants to delay it. And as a result, I think she's put herself in a position where, well, it's at least proven there should have been a motion to recuse herself at the beginning. I'm sure Jack Smith is kicking his ass that he didn't do that. But he made a judgment, and it's understandable under the circumstances. But he credited, well, her level of embarrassment and shame for what she's now doing to be at a minimum, or that it wouldn't be there at all. So this continues to lead me to believe that the case that's going to make it through this madhouse of motions and lies and inconsistent actions and coercions and stuff like that is going to be our boy Bragg. April 15th, they'll start jury selection, or, you know, go over instructions for the jury, but that's when it's going to be set to go forward. The experience we're having here is alarming, but when people are pushing this the right way, I think that we're going to find more coming to the realization that Trump is not only against our government, but he's a madman. He's not up to the game that he's doing. He gets an edge, however, because too many outside of New York sort of defer to his madness as if people will see that on their own and all will be well. But if history teaches us anything, is you cannot underestimate the ability of bad actors to lead good and bad people to do something that does not profit our nation, that compromises our democracy, that makes possible a monarchy that strips us of voting rights, that strips us of equality before the law, that turns this nation into the circus we've observed occurs under other monsters, dictators, almost mobster-like people who take over their governments. This man can never be responsible for our armed services again. We just can't let it happen. And if we do, we'll regret it at our leisure. And we have somewhat of an organized minority, which is very dangerous. And they operate on an emotion, a delusion, a cultish view. That's why the individual issues that people say we should talk to them about don't matter, because those issues are not of their concern. They are true believers, and these are the kinds of people that drink Kool-Aid and do bad things, and that's what we're dealing with. So I get very nervous when people try to avoid the conflict by saying, oh, that's good. Two people, a Republican and Democrat, can talk. One who supported Trump. Well, yeah, that's fine, and that's going to happen. But that's not the parties. That's not the political force we're fighting. And we have to be aware of the fact that Republicans, having basically renounced by their choices our democracy and equality before the law and all the things that make America what was set forth in first our Declaration of Independence and then a civil document, the Constitution, with amendments and with a history of bloodshed to keep this nation united in this fashion. So that's what I got. And we've beat the rain. And boy, it's getting colorful. And the waters are running in the creeks. They're, here's one. Look at that. Let me see if it, there you go. Now, isn't that soothing? You take a dose of this, and it clears out the Trump that's managed to get into your body. Okay, also we have good personal news. My wife, Holly, who was an inpatient, is now an outpatient. She's home. And I put together a card of myself and the animals welcoming her home. So, but she's got boxes of medication she has to take, and some of the news is, to the extent that they know anything, is favorable, but there's a whole regimen she has to follow because of immunosuppression, to be very careful. So we'll see. We'll watch it and we'll let you know. So I say to you from my cathedral of trees, hope you had a good day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.